Welcome to Thursday Night Dodgeball. My name is Halen Sky, and I'm joined with Joey Kramer and Bo Tilley. We're going to watch some no stings, in particularly the mixed final from the 2025 Premier Tour in Tucson. The number 1 seed, Echo, versus the number 7 seed, Instinct. And this is all in preparation for the U.S. Nationals that are happening in New Orleans on August 29th. So I'm pretty excited for that. I have not really been introduced into no sting here in Canada. So I'm very excited to hear what you guys have to say about this, my American friends.
This was an awesome final. I was actually commentating this game, so I do remember this one. I had a great view behind this net. Two really good teams with a bunch of really talented
Echo
players.
has been the dominant no-sting team
this one
for
back.
years at this point for mixed. Instinct has come close a number of times, but I think this or last year's Nationals, they took third, I believe. So they're definitely one of those teams on the cusp. So to see them in the finals is very exciting.
For Echo, we got Rue, we got Sam Greco, we got Payan, we got Kate Gong, we got Grace, and then we got Nick Dachenko. And then for Instinct, left to right on screen, we got Cam.
Oh, man. Call him right as he's flexing.
Right. And then Brittany Morales, Brandon Cook, and Emily Fishman, and they picked up Dan Ronk.
Oh, man. Did that hit her foot?
Yeah,
that is crazy. This game has flipped so quickly. I think it hits her, and then I think it goes up, and then I think it hits Kate's foot as she tries to catch this. Oh, no, it's a counter from Cam. Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was like, that's impossible.
Heads up play by Cam.
Both of these teams have a lot of players who've played on the national team or been part of the national program for the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
For Echo, I think all of their women have played on the national team at least once, if not several times. And then for Instinct, I honestly am not 100% sure. I know they've been on the practice squads before. And then both Cam and Brandon have made Team USA before.
So a lot of talent.
And a super quick first game.
These two teams are just like an insane amount of like arms. Dan Ronk, I think, clocked one of the fastest the hardest throws in Tucson for foam.
Oh yeah, because in Tucson we were doing radar tests for anyone who was trying out for Team USA.
Yeah, his arm is insane. And Brandon Cook, I think, is one of the scariest human beings with a no sting ball.
Yeah, until he smiles at you, and then you're like, I do really like that man.
Well, he lulls you to sleep with a smile.
Oh, and he's, once again, every time we talk about somebody, something happens.
I know. Commentator curse.
Double ball play on him, clearly targeted as one of the key players to Instinct's squad.
So I do have a question. Considering the roster of Instinct, was it a bit of an upset for them to be placed as the 7th seed going into this match?
Yeah, I would say so. I definitely think they kind of didn't play up to their standards. I'd be interested to see what their round robin schedule was like, but I know Brandon Cook and Dan Ronk aren't typically on their normal Instinct roster. Like I see Gage over there on the sidelines. Like Gage is usually a staple on their team too.
And all I really know when it comes to the difference between foam and no sting is purely ball type. Is that correct?
So at this point, in 2025, that is correct. It used to be played with 7 balls, and so then just whatever side had majority of balls, that's who would have burden.
Yeah, I wasn't around for the 7 ball no sting. Before no sting had 1 ball that was different, so that's how they determined burden. So it was pretty obvious who was throwing.
Oh, that's so funny. I went all the way back to a different rule set. I skipped the 6 ball with a burden color. So as far as the play there, it looks like it was a matter of did he make this catch or was he hit out first? A block and a catch, I think, is what the decision ends up being.
Yeah, I think they were kind of discussing like if he blocked his own ball into him.
Based on the ricochet, that actually makes sense. I think that has to be one of the most satisfying catches you can make is when you go for a block and it just kind of wedges in there.
Yeah, vice versa. It's one of the most irritating catches to throw.
Yes, 100%. You're like, I know you missed that. I deserve the out.
Exactly. It's one of those game-changing moments, too, because you make that throw just the tiniest bit better, and now everything's in your favor, and instead it just completely derails your team.
Definitely.
Ooh, what a counter.
Yeah, that's a great counter that goes completely unpunished as well.
Yeah, Pine's so good at recognizing like he has those opportunities for those cross-court counters, and like if he knows that he could take that shot without going unpunished, and you just have to always know where he is on the court.
Well, Pine is definitely a player that's dangerous to throw a solo at too. So if you don't feel confident about getting your placement in, and he's taking that counter, how do you punish him appropriately? And my methodology is punish anyway, because otherwise they're just going to keep getting away with it. But it is a scary take to take.
Yeah. You should take that shot to at least show him that you will try and punish, but so he doesn't take those freely. But still, it's like almost a lose-lose with a player like Pine.
This is a tough scenario. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But honestly, I've seen Carla swing those so many times, because Carla is just one of the best catchers in the country, if not internationally. I've seen her catch so many of those.
And what is Carla's last name?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Haichi or I should be a better friend than this. I talk to Carla often.
Not to put you on the spot. My gosh.
I talk to Carla often.
Well, what's funny to me is it's just like I know so many people at this point just by their Instagram names instead of their actual names. So when you said that, I was like, oh no. I am also not 100% sure. Oh, big catch.
Wow, what a catch.
Yep.
That is a lot.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, 3 different throws goes into him, and then a catch on the other side.
Cody's got such good hands in the middle.
It's a pretty crazy swing considering they put, I think, 3 balls on.
Man! Ooh, Cody again.
Wow, very impressive. Right on the top right shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, Cody recently made practice squad for Cloth.
Deservedly so. I love playing with that guy. He plays with a lot of energy. Like, he's all over the court. And like you said, great hands, but also great throw. Very talented player. And he's relatively new, been playing for a couple of years at this point, but I see him in LA all the time.
So we got Brittany and Carla left for Instinct. 2 good catchers on that team too. So
just a matter of making sure they get some well-coordinated throws off. Definitely not players you want to one ball unless you have to, especially in a 6-on-2 situation.
Yeah, my philosophy in these situations, like if you're up players and you get 3 balls, if you're Echo, definitely take doubles or even triples at this point, because it's like I'm not super worried if you give up 5 or 6 balls.
And there is the lack. It's almost like a lack of respect there, right?
Yeah,
like
turning away. Yeah, that's Nick being young.
Absolutely. Because an experienced player is always going to take that shot, and now their life is a little bit easier.
6-on-2, always going to pick a 5-on-2,
Yep.
unless that 6th person decides to just take their own out, I guess.
Yeah.
They have a ball in no man's land, and that's a loss there. When they had ball majority, they should have scooped that ball back. Now, unfortunately, it gets used against them, but great surviving skills.
Yeah. Kind of three solos right there.
Work.
If you're Cody too in that situation, if you have that 1 ball right there, you could almost just charge at Carla and just go get a trade if Carla's going to come up to the line that close.
It's one of those situations that I like that play call, but if you screw that up somehow, like if you miss or they counter you before you get the ball off, you've just completely thrown it away. So it has to be well executed. And I've seen so many people make that. Well,
oh wow, and that's a hand grab.
That's one way to end the game.
Counter. But I totally get what you're saying, Joey, is when you're going to make a decision like that, when you're going to try to make a trade to just close a point, you kind of want to take time into account. Like if it's a close game, you don't have many minutes left, you really need this win, absolutely go for it. But when you have all the time in the world, you're up numbers, you don't have to do it. Draw it out. Take the double throws, the triple throws.
Sure.
There's no rush.
And even just looking at this time here, it's like they could have taken it to half had they wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a lot of time left. So with 2 players, you can eat that clock if your strategy calls for
I did love the catch counter for this round.
Is it a team catch
Yeah,
counter?
or for both teams.
So out of curiosity, what ball? So the U.S. Nationals has 3 ball types, 3 game styles.
Yeah, insane.
Which I'm so glad to hear that No Sting switched to a foam rule set, because 3 different rule sets sounds hellish, in my opinion.
It is.
So out of all those balls, though, what is the easiest to catch?
No
Cloth.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
The first times that I've played cloth, and immediately just the size of the ball helps significantly. But also, more than anything else, very, very few players can put any significant movement on the ball.
Yeah.
It does stick a little better. I think No Sting's the next easiest to catch.
It also depends on the throw lines too. Like if you have a 30-foot throw line for No Sting, I think No Sting's the easiest to catch because it's
Oh,
great,
wow.
great double out by Gage.
So he takes the counter and makes 2 catches.
Yeah, that was insane.
Man,
I think that was
I remember this
that
play.
was the highlight of Tucson. I think he won the highlight
Yeah.
contest off that.
Well, you do something like that in the finals.
I would imagine he should.
Yeah.
You deserve it because that's crazy. And it takes out, 2 of the strongest arms remaining on the court at that point. But they have quite a squad. So, like that, I mean, it changed everything right there in just a moment.
Oh, wow. And both quarters immediately thrown out with team throws. And yeah. Three team throws, 3 outs.
Yeah.
Easy close.
Tie game. All of a sudden, it's a whole different ball game.
And does No Sting have no blocking?
Yeah. Wait, does it?
Hold on. Pause the game.
Did it have no blocking? Were we watching no blocking?
So,
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Wait, that's a good.
I
That's a good question. Wait, that's a good.
can't remember because I believe the answer is yes, but I don't know for sure.
Oh yeah, it does have no blocking. Yes, there's no blocking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To the point of 3 ball types and 3 rule sets.
I love a good set of no block.
It just changes everything about the mental game while changing almost nothing about the physical game. And I love that because people panic so hard. And I always try to tell my teammates, it's like, no, nothing's changed. We have the same exact scenario.
Those are 2 quick outs from Instinct as well.
Man,
And they get Dachenko.
4.
Yeah, it seems like they've just really been prioritizing taking out like the corner first.
Oh, and a fantastic shadow catch on the left side here, catching out Greco.
Oof. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I didn't even see how she got out. I just saw her walking off. Amazing awareness to just be ready for that at all times.
Now we're in a 6v2. I like that choice. I like taking a team throw from further back because you're not going to win that speed game on the same target.
Wow. Did they throw 5 balls and none of them hit? That's pretty fantastic.
This is Aura.
It's aura. It's probably too much respect on the player where you're that afraid to get caught. Or it's just you're so late in the tournament that you don't have the accuracy anymore.
A little of both. Kate Gong's a goat.
She really is. She's been at the top of this game for a long time.
I remember Tucson had like weird lines, so I didn't know if it was the back of the blue part for this. Yeah, but
Based on those cones, I assume it's the front line.
Okay, the front of the blue.
But I think Mark just adjusted it right there. So I think it is that front line.
Nice.
Oh, wow. And that is a deadly strike.
I like putting Gage in the middle here too. Gage is just such an interchangeable player. And then commentator curse again. I'm sorry, Gage. It's on me.
Immediately caught out.
That's on me.
I mean, it was a good look. He's running all the way across the court, side to him.
And how quickly does that one catch undo that amazing strike they just had? Good survivability, good push.
And
Terrible
wow.
throw!
All right, see, that throw right there is why I do not like No Sting at all, because I know he threw that way off like that because his hands are sweaty, and when your hands are sweaty, it's impossible to throw a No Sting ball.
I know that you've got something out for No Sting emotionally,
It's
but
bad.
you're right. At the end of a tournament, just any kind of wetness on your hands. Oh my goodness.
Incredible catch.
A throw, hits Lou out, and then a catch, a pine.
Man, this one is flipping
Then
on a
Dan
lot
Ronk
of
with a
catches.
catch right after too. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Oh
my
my
Count is
gosh.
out of control. We're at
Dan Ronk won.
Okay, so we have a
Catch.
catch on the right side.
3. Bang. 4.
four in a
Four.
row.
Oh god. Dan
Wow,
Ronk with that
Wow.
kitchen gets hot.
man. And that took all of the momentum, right? Because prior to that, it was a very tight game. I would say Echo actually had the momentum after making that catch and taking Gage out, just like
Yeah.
killing them, stopping them in their tracks, and then instead flipped 180. The train is going 100% down the tracks. You're not stopping this.
Was that a double on the left side?
Looks like Pine and Cody took a shot at Brandon, and then Rue hit Gage out. Missed. Yeah, I would have to ask Mitch, but I to see what was the highest catch match of this tournament. But there were some that were like nearing the 20s. Yeah, or over the 20s. Yeah, it was insane. Just this throw Pine on Brittany right here. It's just like he looks like he's gonna throw one in at Carly, or he's like looking off Dan Ronk on the right here, and then he just comes back and just smokes Brittany. Like, just the way that Pine's eyes are just so deceiving on the court is just insane, and just so frustrating to play against.
Just wow, he does the same thing.
Can you just line back up in front of me, please? Just a conveyor belt. Carla,
All right, let's see
Emily.
if Ronk goes over there too.
Dan's like, nah, I'm okay over here. I'm in my safe space over here. Oh,
Survives.
nice.
He has got impressive survival in this match.
He does get pretty small behind the ball. He's a pretty big guy.
Nobody saw
Safe.
anything safe.
I'd like to note too, like those 3 hits on the left side here can't happen without the pressure on the right side. So that was also very impressive.
Echo doing a good job of holding Dan Ronk to allow Pine to kind of eat the left side there.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a
Sneaky
throw.
shot.
Hey, Luann, very known for her catching, but Luann's arm is very slept on, in my opinion.
She is so good at toe shots.
Yes.
Like, it is, because I think a lot of it has to do with where her release point is.
Mhm.
It's not dropping like other balls. It drops a very little amount, but it is just right at court level for like the full length of the throw.
Now, can I have some clarity here? Why are they switching sides?
Because one side has a net, and then the other side has a like the bleachers in the back there. So just so like equal sides, I guess. Both sides get to play wall or net. Ooh, unfortunate double there.
Dang,
Yeah,
just so disappointing.
yeah. If you're Brandon, I've done that too many times to a teammate.
When you're the one that's ricocheted into, it's like, you should have come with me.
I just want to pull you off the court with me.
Yeah.
I'd be less mad if you got
We're
hit.
going down together.
Exactly.
So interesting thing from Echo here on the other side is all 3 of their players without ball are grouped into one little area in the back.
Yeah.
This would be a great opportunity for some active shadowing,
Yeah. 100%.
which
funny.
would be, for anyone unfamiliar with the term, spreading out and looking for a live ball to come past one of these blockers ahead of them to look for the catch.
Yeah, especially since all 3 of them are good catchers too. You have Luann, Sam Greco, I think Kate Gong's back there. All 3 of them really good catchers. So if the 3 of them are behind Rue, Pine, and Cody, Dan Ronk, Cam, Brandon Cook on the instinct side, very prone to counter.
And it's also just a way that when you're not active in the play, you're staying active regardless. Oh, and that's a great out on the left.
Yeah, you can find ways to make an impact still.
Great shot on Cam. I think it was the follow ball that just got him.
Love a good trailer.
Especially with someone who jumps as much as Cam and can get so much height, that follow ball is often the one that it's not necessarily impossible, but much more difficult to avoid.
That's why I try to avoid jumping as much as I can, because it's just you have nowhere to go.
And you just gotta double jump, right? Just do it again.
I'm not sure how Pine
I don't know.
avoids
Wow.
this shot. Just like the one leg up is enough.
Efficiency of movement.
The big jumping, spreading out dodges, they can be impressive and flashy, but at the same time, like, that's also how injuries happen.
Rue here was trying to hit the camera with this following throw.
Yeah.
Like back-to-back way overthrows. I think that's a thing that you see with I see it with like all ball types actually, but with no sting probably more than others, is when someone feels they've got you dead to rights, they tend to let it go early because they've put a little too much power into it, and then that ball just sails right over the top.
They're going to go into no blocking. And this is a tight match. 1 point difference, no block.
5 on the court for Echo versus 3 on the court for Instinct. Echo needs this win. Otherwise, this one's over.
Dan Ronk just
Oh,
was taken
wow.
out. Emily Fishman taken out. We got Brittany Morales against 5 people on Echo. Dumps 1. Owes 1 more.
And they close it. And I know you guys have talked about how no sting is a somewhat easier ball type to catch, but to me it feels so interesting to immediately go for the catch first throw. Like, in my mind, and I tell this to my teammates all the time, if you can throw them out, throw them out. I'm very much like, if we're in a 3v5, we can throw this team out, we can win it. So if I can survive and my team can get more chances to throw, it's a less of a high risk play to go for the catch right away.
Yep.
Yeah. And I agree. For me, I always try to tell teammates to think that it's a dodge first strategy. Dodge first, and then if you have to catch, that's when it's time to catch. Because essentially, I don't know anyone who's got a catch rate that's better than 50%.
Yeah.
And so, what are the odds that you're going to get out trying to go for a catch? 50%. But you're not going to throw a catch 50% of the time. So, the worst case scenario is that you get yourself out throwing, but that's just less likely to happen. So just playing the odds, I think, is the right move.
If they win it, they win the game, right?
You're right. If you win, you win.
If you win, you win. Fast rush, but they miss the pass.
I've wanted to see people try and do that on purpose, the full misdirect on a pitchback, but I just haven't seen anyone go for it.
Yeah, Pine in an awkward position there.
My team drills it. It's only been put into effect a couple times.
Well, it's just like, if you do it wrong, the person who doesn't catch it is completely sold out.
Oh, that is a curving drop shot from what I can see.
And then they lose the ball too. Yeah. See, I wouldn't expect Pine to drop his ball and go for a catch right there. It just seemed like too early game for that.
I think you're probably right on what happened with that ball too, because if it's not dropping into him, he wouldn't even have gone for it. So I think it was I have to try to catch this now because I'm stuck.
Laterals, baby.
Yeah.
Laterals are king.
Oh, man.
Great attempt for the catch after the counter, but just wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, and it's
wow.
down to 1v5.
And there's the game. Brings us to 10 catches on the catch counter.
Yeah. I think that catch bringing it to 10, I think we set an over-under for 9.5 catches in the final, and then I think I remember looking over at Mitch for that hitting the over.
So Carla was in on it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Hey, we love hitting the over, so.
And that's why gambling in dodgeball could be real risky.
We need it.
We do not. We
Get
do
it.
not.
Dude.
Well, this was fun. I'm glad I got to actually watch No Sting with a little more intention. I'm glad we've gotten to learn some of these teams going into nationals. So my question to you guys is, going into nationals, what are the other big No Sting teams that we need to watch out for?
Well, I think Bo and I are both playing No Sting. So I'm cheering for Groove, which is my team. And then Bo, who are you playing with?
I'm playing with Atomic X. It is a Boston-based No Sting team. So it's kind of like a not super serious team because none of us really play No Sting in Boston, but we were really, really bad like 2 years ago. But now like all of the players on that former team we're better players. So we're like, all right, let's reunite for one division just to play together one more time. So we're using mixed No Sting for that.
guess I don't know all of the other mixed teams that are going to nationals for no sting, because there's a significantly larger number of mixed foam teams.
Mm-hmm.
Just happy to be here is ranked number 1 on the Premier Tour board for mixed no sting, so they'll be there. There's a couple teams out of the Portland area, like the Pacific Northwest. I know they play a lot of no sting out in that area, so like Sedona Vortex Association and a team called Warp. They're in the top 8, so they'll be good if they go. And then a team called Local, they're from Long Island. They should be pretty good as well if they go. And then Clutch Mode out of Delaware, I think.
Yeah, most of them.
They should be. That's your team,
Clutch
right?
Mode is my cloth squad.
Yeah.
For no sting, I think I'm just doing mixed with Groove.
Thanks for that rundown, Bo. And, U.S. Nationals is such a fun event because there's all 3 different ball types going on. We don't have many tournaments, especially in North America, that do that. I mean, I guess Premier Tour does it technically, correct?
Yeah. Not every ball type for every division or for every tournament at this point.
Okay. Yeah. So if you're a fan of foam, if you're a fan of cloth, if you're a fan of no sting, you're going to find something to like there. And there's going to be a lot of talent. This is the best of the best in America. And so feel free to join us. We will be there. Well, in spirit, some of us. I'll be watching. And again, that's August 29th.
Yeah, come check it out.
Just quickly shout out, the Flight Boys and girl. Shout out Ashley Cook. Really excited for nationals for foam, no sting, and cloth. And then shout out Groove. Really excited to play with Groove for mixed foam. And then shout out Atomic X for mixed no sting, and shout out Local for mixed cloth. Really excited to get down to New Orleans. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, you're playing with like a little bit of everybody,
I know, just like to sprinkle myself around to just have fun with a bunch of my friends down there. So
yeah,
that'll be good.
That's awesome. That's kind of what I was trying to do this year as well. I'm playing with Groove for for 2 mixed divisions, then Clutch Mode for cloth, and then I'm playing open foam with Elevation.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, I never
Good
played
team.
with those guys before other than Dakota, so I'm excited to get that experience in, see how we can do, see if I can help them a little bit. And then, of course, I want to shout out the Los Angeles stats crew. They've been working hard on creating some different stats for all these different divisions and different teams. I have been a part of that, in case you didn't know, behind the scenes. I think everyone else is kind of secret until there's a reveal later. But I think most people have figured it out anyway. But I won't ruin their secret identity.
The dodgeball players definitely appreciate what you guys do for that, so we definitely appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad we got it started. Like, that was the whole thing. I wanted to do stats for one of our leagues because I was just like, this would be a cool thing to do. And then by doing that, I've been finding out that there's tons of other people who have obviously been doing stats behind the scenes. I understand part of the desire to keep these stats secret, right? Like, there is a certain level of this is insider information. This is like our practice footage or whatever. But I find that personally silly because if you play any major sport in the world, every game is live. Every game is archived. Every game is watched by thousands or millions of people. So keeping that to ourselves, I think, is doing a disservice. So I think sharing that kind of information to the masses only helps get more people involved with dodgeball. So if you're recording your games and you're not posting them, like, maybe you could post them.
Fascinating. I've been doing stats for the last 5 years, and it's kind of funny because I love stats, but I have so many teammates that are like, I never want to know my stats. Don't tell me. In fact, don't do my stats. I don't want you to know my stats. I think it's insane that we don't have statisticians who decide or help make impact in making selections for national teams going to Worlds.
Yeah.
And that should be done, and I've been saying that since like 2015. But that takes manpower.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and at this point, very little reward for a lot of it because, like you said, it's not even necessarily being used to modify any decisions or to make any kind of plays or adjustments. But personally, whenever I've seen it, it's so helpful just to know when you feel like you've had a good game, does it actually reflect that you had a good game? right? I think that's the most interesting thing, because so often I'll have what I think is a bad game, and I will talk to my teammates or whatever. They're like, "You're playing great," and it's like, "Well, I don't believe you. You know, I played terrible for the last 40 minutes. I felt like I did nothing useful." And then you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, "Okay, I guess I was effective. There's just something going on in here." There's a lot of egos in dodgeball, and that helps get you so far. But if your ego doesn't match what you're actually doing on the court, then you often end up in a situation where I guess you become a very cocky player who is undeserved in what you are presenting to people. Anyways, if you're too cocky anyway, nobody likes that. But if you're cocky but you're good, there's a little bit of leeway to be given, I think, as long as it's not over the top. And one thing that goes along with stats that specifically Dodgeball.LIVE has been working on is creating some kind of ranking system, using power levels to showcase how good teams are when they're playing against each other on these streaming courts, and just to show the growth in all of these teams throughout the year. I'm very happy that Mitch has decided to take on, because it is a very necessary thing, I think, because when you are setting up a tournament, or even just trying to see where you are or where you want to be, knowing the teams that you're playing against, like how good they are. Like, yeah, we know how good certain players are, or certain teams that we've seen all the time. But when you're doing these larger international tournaments or these cross-country tournaments, just being able to see where you stack up against these teams is very interesting. People like numbers. Whether they admit that or not, whether they want to do the math themselves, they like to see where everything shakes out. Just having those kinds of graphics and ongoing leaderboard, I think, is a very cool thing that I am very glad Dodgeball.LIVE is working on.
I guess for myself, we don't know when you're going to see me next. I have my provincial tryouts here coming in September. I have historically made the team for PEI and competed at the last 7 nationals for Canada. So hopefully you'll see me there. And also at Quebec Cup, I am planning on participating in that. So maybe I'll be on the live stream, but probably more likely you'll see me here.
I think you're great. I told you at the chat beforehand, you're doing a great job. So
Yes.
keep the confidence up.
If you like this episode, please like and subscribe to the WDBF YouTube. And if you want to see this game in its entirety, check out the WDBF membership program.